Welcome back to From 9 to Mom.
where we discuss balancing the 9 to 5 hustle with the beautiful chaos that we call motherhood.
Today I'm joined by a little helper that you're going to hear in the background of this entire podcast.
Yes, he has decided that today is the day, right? He's not going to want to use technology. He wants to jump on the trampoline.
What could be more fun than standing by mom while she's trying to record a podcast is going to be the deal here. So we're going to see how long. I'm not going to say his name because he will come over here. But if you hear some bouncing on a trampoline, that's because my podcast studio is in my basement and
Yeah,
all the
it's
toys are
fine.
surrounding me. So, but on that topic, we're still talking back to school. This is our extended version of back to school because we definitely didn't cover everything. We talked about all the school supplies and all the fun things. And now, Danielle, that you have sent the kids back to school, I feel like we need to talk about the second half of it, which is really like the emotional side of getting the kids
Yes,
back off to school.
because the truth is, leading up to school, right? That day one excitement, you're leading up to everything, you're getting all the supplies, you're having fun. But then for us, we're now in week 2, the fatigue starts to set in, the big emotions, lots of transitions, it's all happening right now. And I think it's so important because we always talk about back to school and then we go back to school and we think it's over. But the reality is, this is when it really starts to happen, is when this 2 to 3 week transition occurs.
Well, it's a big thing. So, of course, I talked to Daphne, my chat GPT, and I was like, what are the biggest things that moms specifically deal with, right? Like, we're the more emotional creatures. But, like, I think the first 3 things it gave were like right, hit the nail on the head, right? So, the mixed feelings. So, relief that you're like back to your routine, you have some time, but then like you get that guilt feeling for feeling relieved that they're back to school.
Yep.
The second one being the house is too quiet. So for all of you moms that work exclusively at home with the kids home, the summer obviously just brings them around more, even if you had Colton in camps and all that, but they're just home more.
Yes.
So
facts.
that going to quiet house now is like eerie sometimes. Like you're like, oh, I kind of miss that even after a week. But then also the nostalgia. So like realizing how much they've grown. I kind of had that moment this morning because obviously I'm home with the kids today. And this might be my last day that like I worked from home with them home with me alone. And I'm like, this may never happen again.
Well, and you spend the whole quote unquote summer or time saying this is so stressful, it's breaking up my routine, I'm not as productive. And then all of a sudden the last day hits or that moment hits and you start to question every decision you've made and you wish you would have enjoyed it more and taken advantage of it. But you can't go back in time. But that nostalgia is huge. You'll start, Catie, for you, it's coming up
Right?
where you start comparing the pictures. So the first day of school last year to the first day of school this year or last day of school. I got a
It's gonna be
picture.
so sad.
I logged into Daisy because Daisy's back to school now. And we can talk about this after, but lots of emotions. He is starting all over again with that separation piece. But I saw the last picture that her teacher posted in her app versus the first picture
One
the
they
teacher
did
posted.
today.
She looks like a completely different child. And it was just May. So it really wasn't
It
that long
is.
ago.
That's what I do love seeing when people post their like first day, last day. It's like crazy to see, especially kindergarten. Like that's like a huge growth check, but like it's crazy. One of the things that, because we're still gearing up for school, like our first, I guess this is like our first real school because it's
Yeah.
PK. He's going to a real school. And I think I've been all over the TikTok of people making the custom banners for their doors with like back to school. Have you seen them?
No, I've seen the
'Cause I'm
shirts
gonna
and I wish I would have done it for Colton. I'm going to start it this year, but there are shirts you can buy that have every single year class of their graduating class in their handprint, which I think is very cute.
That's really cute. I, of course, didn't save it to bring it up right now, but I'm like all over back to school talk. And like that looked so cute. And I was like, I want to have some tradition that we do every year, like the front porch picture, or whatever it may be. So I got to figure out what that's going to be still. So I'll share it. That's the other crazy thing. I still have 3 more weeks.
Yeah, you have time. And then all of a sudden it hits and you're faced with a new set of challenges. I actually had a mom friend of mine, Colton, and her daughter used to be in the same class. And she texted me this morning, and these are the texts like especially after you've just dealt with a all out blowout the day before
Yeah,
with your
right.
child. But I got the text saying, you know, it was so sweet of Colton this morning to stick his head out of the car and say hi to her daughter. She was having a really rough day. This transition's been really hard on her to first grade. She was crying. And as soon as Colton called her name, she started smiling. I don't drop Colton off, so I didn't know. I guess he jumped out of the car, ran up to her, walked into school with her, and it made her day and it made the mom's day to see that. And it was just
Yeah.
one of those things that she doesn't know this because Colton is very happy and good in school, that I had to write her back and say, hey, Colton's having a hard time too. The transitions at night for us are really difficult because he's trying to pull himself together all day. The days are way longer. And so we're dealing with it at night, and just to see the connection, because I think that a lot of times what we see the first few weeks of school is what you're talking about, the perfectly posed picture, the staged, I want to be this when I grow up. But at home, you're
Right.
dealing with, I cried dropping Daisy off at school because she cried so hard. On day 3, she was holding onto my shirt so hard they had to pry her fingers off of my body. And you've got Colton breaking down at night saying, I was being bullied. There's just all these things that are happening because they're little kids with big
Yes.
emotions and big transitions in their life. You're emotional, they're emotional, and everybody just thinks everything's perfect. But the reality is, we're all going through it all at the same time.
Yes. So it's like the comparison piece of like this emotion of it going back, and like you see other parents like perfect everything. Like you've seen the ones of the kids waving going on the bus. Like, okay, no, not happening.
They
But
have
I'm
mini
really
sessions
nervous
here where
about that.
people spend a couple $100s to get these professional photos done on a different day. And I
That's
asked Quinny, which is
absolutely
Daphne and
insane.
Quinny are on the same page too, because she was talking, she called it comparison culture. It's like a true comparison culture
She
we're
called it
dealing
the
with.
comparison trap.
It is a trap. It's a trap.
But it is hard because the first day, your kids feed off of your emotion, and even if you're not showing it, I feel like they can feel it a little bit. Like, I always feel like that with the kids. Like, when I'm in a bad mood, even if I'm not directing it at them, like, I feel like they feel it, and then they're in bad moods because I'm in a bad mood.
They're way more empathic than we think. They're way more intuitive than we think, and they do feed off of our energy. So if we're feeling stressed, they feel stressed, right?
Right, right,
And if we're comparing and trying to yell at them to say, like, smile, use your real smile, where are your, like, it hurts their self-esteem,
right.
but we're just trying to get the cute
To post on wherever, or
photo.
like just have the memory.
So I always joke and say, Colton, pretend you're posing for your girlfriend, and whatever I get in that photo
Is
is what I
what
get,
you
you know?
get. Well, and I think another big thing that I'm trying to ramp up for is like the different mental load that's going to come with going back to school. So like first being morning routine, and I'm craving my routine right now, and it's going to be different again. Like it's different for me this year because it's going to be
It's
pick up, drop
different,
off.
but you're going to love it, because even
I
me, which I'm
know
not such a creature of habit, but just having the routine, knowing this is what time we wake up, this is what time they're out the door, this is what time I need to get the other. It's beautiful, even though it's different.
it is. And so I'm not going to be used to, like, we used to drop both kids off square at 8 o'clock.
That
And then
is
you're like,
hard.
like it was great. Now I'm not dropping till 9.
That's my problem.
And so like I am going to have Jack with me all morning. Like luckily, like he's been getting better at sleeping. So like he doesn't wake up till 7:15, depending on what we got to do. And we're so close to school that that's not like the commute's not an issue, but like just getting him ready, like keeping him occupied for that time. Like,
It's
what do
Here's
you
my
do?
tips and
Like, what am I
tricks.
supposed to do during
Because
that
this happened to
time?
me last year, remember? Because Colton went to school, he went to kindergarten for the first time, and Daisy went to daycare for the first time. So my drop off for Colton, he leaves the house with Jordan. There's no bus for us between 7 and 7:15. Daisy, I have to leave the house between 8:30 and 8:45 to get her to school, depending on
Yes.
what time I want to do. And I remember being so panicked. Like, what am I going to do? I don't know how to like navigate this. So it took me a whole year to really figure it out, only because the kids keep changing. And that's what you have. One week,
Yeah.
Daisy's a really great sleeper and she sleeps till 8:30. The next week, she woke up at 6. But this is kind of the jam. I basically wake up an hour before Colton needs to be out the door, because not only do I have to wake him up, I also have to wake my other child up, Jordan,
Yep.
multiple
The
times.
third child.
So the extra, like, we were both waking up at like 6:20, 6:30, and then trying to get him out the door. I wake up at 6, get everything I can set in motion. I lay out the clothes the
Yes.
night before, and I do as much of the lunch, get everything in motion, slightly gently wake them up. Then we come downstairs, we do our routine. I get them out the door. That's when I have my coffee made, go upstairs. If Daisy is awake, because sometimes she'll wake up with Colton, this is where technology wins. I let her sit at the foot of the shower while I shower and watch Danny
You
Go
have
or
to.
Blippi.
Mm-hmm.
If she's
Right.
asleep, I take a quiet shower listening to a podcast. But then basically I have to be myself ready by 8, wake her up with breakfast on the table, get her up, get her dressed, get her together, and be out the door.
The time goes quick too, because like I'm sitting here like, okay, I have from 7 till 8:45, but like it's really not that much time when you factor in like me getting myself ready, breakfast, all of those things. I'm also really curious about kids that, so like it says on the page, and I'll know more when we have our orientation. So he gets free breakfast and lunch there. We're obviously going to pack his lunch because like I don't know what this kid would eat at lunch from school lunch, but I don't like they're giving the kids breakfast when they get there at 9:00 if they need it.
Yes, even at Colton school, but that's way earlier. You can opt in for breakfast. And at daycare, Daisy gets a snack, then lunch just at 9:00, but different schools do different things. But it is awesome, I will say, because if you're running late or whatever,
Right.
they didn't want to eat breakfast that morning, they still get to start their day with a nutritious meal.
Yeah.
But also, I will tell you that Colton is a very picky eater, but he loved the food at his daycare like way more than he likes anything. And Jordan's an incredible cook. My mom's an incredible cook. He likes my food because all I can do is basically grilled cheese, peanut butter, and jelly. But like he loved their food. So you might find that Jack's appetite or his palate is expanded because of.
I honestly hope, because he won't. This morning they threw tantrums that I put avocado on their plate, both of them. And Calvin usually doesn't, but he did it because Jack did it.
There's an actual set of girls that do a podcast from the toddler's perspective about like, I think it's like how my mom ruined my life or why they're the villain. And it's like all these things. And I was dying watching it because the things that kids get upset at you for are unreal. And that's what you're going to find too when you're going to school and stuff. They want this. All their friends have it. Then you do it. And then they don't want it anymore.
They don't care, appreciate it, whatever it is. I've been taking all of your advice about like prepping for lunches, like practicing. So we've had him with his little bent to go box practicing. The timing's going to be rough. Like he's got some work to do in these next 2.5 weeks. But it's been helpful to do it now so he's comfortable with it.
Yeah, because think about you're in a new place with new people and now you got to figure it out. It's just the kids are so funny.
So
they
much
do
new.
Adapt and learn. This year, Daisy is potty training's a must in this year's classroom.
Yeah.
And it's so funny because Daisy changes how she is. But I guess yesterday, the director of the daycare told me that Daisy was trying to go potty and the director was in there with her. And the other kids were crying in the classroom. Now, mind you, Daisy has cried both days that I dropped her off. And she looked at her and she goes, yeah, those kids are crying because they're babies and they need their mommy. But me, I'm a big girl. Okay.
And you're like, that was not my kid.
That is not possible. But that is what she said. And it's so funny because a year ago, Daisy was the crying baby. An hour ago, that Daisy was a crying baby. There's just so much that's going to change. It's just, then they learn.
It does. And so I think one of the things that I have been thinking about too is like, I do feel a little guilty, but not that guilty to like get routine back, to get back into my work mode of like, having that set amount of time all the time. But I asked Daphne here for like, what are some things mom should be doing around this time? Because we like focus so heavily on making sure the kids have all their clothes, they have their new water bottles, their backpacks, like all those new things. And I'm like, but what about us? When like, shouldn't we be doing it? So like, she gave me a couple tips of like, ways to find yourself again, what you should be using school hours for, besides, work, hobbies. Do you take a little bit of alone time, especially if you work at home? Like you got to take like a mental breather every now and then, but like also to do all of the calendar stuff. So like on top of back to school starting, activities are starting back up. So like we just got both boys in sports for the fall because we kind of took a break. Yeah.
We got it. We got an interruption from our friend.
What do you need? Oh, I think he's over
Well,
there.
that's a
Keep
big deal.
looking. Can't find my master. So we just got Jack in baseball and Kelvin in soccer. And I was like so excited that I could book them at the exact same time. They're on the fields next to each other. I'm like, I know that will never happen again. We'll be running multiple nights a week, but I set it up so September, October, we'll only have sports one night a week, which is great.
Unheard of with 2 kids. So amazing. Good
Right?
job to you.
Thanks. I needed a pat on the back for that. But like, besides that, like we joked about all the different days that we need to keep track of. If you're in, like Colton's in, a couple of different places because after school care versus, just those things. So like, I'm also a little worried because Jack is done at 2:30 this year and I pick him up 3 days a week and he's going to be home with me after that.
The thing that you have to remember about this that's going to be different for him, and actually was something that I was thinking about, is the decompression time they need after they go to daycare. So he's going to be learning. He's already super smart. No question there. He's already gone to daycare, but this is first like school.
Yes.
So they're learning so much and there's so many new things and rules that they need to follow and those kinds of things, that their decompression time is so important. And that's the toughest when you have sports on the docket too. He won't have homework yet, but giving him the time, like, okay, this is the time. You have a snack ready for him. You set him up on the couch. He either reads his book or watches a show for an hour because he's going to be so tired. And by that time, Ryan will be done with work. There'll be the change of shifts. You just got to remember, like, I remember feeling so guilty. I still sometimes do, but they need that time. They need that time for themselves to chill. I love that he's here with us doing this. But one of the other things I saw for like us to help us with our lives and get back into it is emotional check-ins for the whole family.
Yes.
They like me and Jordan are reading a book together, and basically you share your day and how you're feeling and how you felt, like being honest, and that gives them the freedom to do the same. And then I'll actually share it. I'll share a couple of the questions that Quinny ChatGPT gave me to get kids to actually answer, like how their day at school was, because you will get nothing.
Right. So
if you don't ask creatively.
Look at your phone quick.
Is he all right over there? What's going on?
Can you hear him?
Oh, yeah.
No, Jack, those ones are too heavy. Just keep the colored one, those colorful
Jack's
ones.
working out. Look at him go.
Our weights are right here.
So maybe if you do this with him, it'll tire him out, and he's going to be so strong for baseball. I think this might be the way to go.
I hope so. One of the things too that Daphne talked about too was like the social shifts of things. So like when you're in summer mode, like you probably didn't hear from some of the people like that you talked to during the school year because they're the moms of kids in class or anything like that. But like you have to worry about like being in parent circles and like communicating with them. I remember, I don't think it was the last time I came to visit. It had to have been 2 times ago. When another mom called you because you guys were like trying to get to the bottom of like something that happened at school.
Yes.
And you're like hearing it through your kids. And it's so great when parents can communicate, because then you could, tie up the stories a little bit because you want to believe your kid.
Yes, this was 2 years ago. And this is now one of my closest friends.
Okay, amazing.
I saw her this weekend because our kids are constantly being separated. Yes. They were separate because they are so cute. Both of them are so good and they're so good together, but like they just love each other too much, I think.
Yeah.
But it is funny because then you've got to like deal with that, because that could have ended one of 2 ways. You see what I'm saying?
Right.
Like
you could have just listened to one side of the story and thought that was it.
And yeah, you're right. Like you start talking, like some of the people that have been texting me the last week I haven't talked to for 2 months.
Right. And you just like get in your summer mode because you do traveling, you do camps that are either with different kids or some of the same probably, but it's like totally different because you're just in that different mode.
I really didn't think about that when we were talking about back to school, like how our social circles change. I did think about though, how our routines, because like you said, we have so much more like scheduling, school stuff, things to do.
That will hurt your foot if you drop it.
Finding alone time.
On the ground.
Yeah, don't drop them.
What's alone time?
Yes. Well, I told you what happened to me, and judge me if you want, but Catie and I are both a fan of like challenge shows and like dating ish things. So I stayed up till 3 a.m. last night watching Perfect Match season 3. I know I already told you this, but it was like my phone's been broken and I needed to decompress. My Kindle's broken as well. So I had no choice but to go to Netflix. And once I started, I just couldn't stop. My brain turned off for the first time in
You had to.
however long.
That's how the only way you can sleep. And honestly, that's the only reason that I feel like I've stuck with reading, because it's the only thing that gets my brain. Even if I watch TV, like I have to be into something on TV for it to really shut off my brain. If I read, it's like it makes me more sleepy to read.
See, I can't stop reading. So I have to stop reading and then do the New York Times. Have you done the New York Times app yet? That's the only,
I don't like games though. Like I don't like that.
I don't like games
know.
either, but they're not games. It's like one mini crossword. It's like brain games and a connections puzzle that I do. So my brain has to think very aggressively about that. Guys, if you're not watching this on YouTube, Catie is sending me pictures of Jack and what he's doing in the background. We really had minimal options.
I should have like cleaned
that's why
up
we're
this
called
area.
From 9 to Mom.
Yeah, I should have cleaned up the area because he's currently working out and I have all my like nasty stuff in the way of this. I probably will edit some of this out, but it's really pretty funny stuff. But yeah, you need to have something to turn your brain off at night. And like as the kids get older, I keep joking because everyone around me is little babies. And like when you're in that, like you're not taking melatonin for yourself before bed, like because you have to be up in the middle of the night or ready to be up. I'm just approaching where like we could start having some sleep aids again, I think, because the kids it's rare for that. And I have been on my supplement journey still, and the magnesium at night is really helping me. I swear, like it's helping me a lot now.
Get the Earthly Balm and you could put it on your feet and you could put it on your kids' feet.
Yeah, that's good.
And it smells good. It feels nice. It's like a little routine.
We might need to do another supplement episode because I mean, I have to wait for some results of this.
It's
but
evolved.
Like, we've been talking about like post baby.
Pause for this musical interlude. Do your ears hang low? You didn't know you were getting a concert today as well here. But
we have like a whole workout section right next to me. So there's like a mirror and he's just vibing.
He really feels this jam in his soul.
He's feeling it. I'm sending you all these videos. I don't know that our listeners will be able to see it, but here we are. Yes. So as I've been trying to regulate some hormonal issues that I'm having, I want to get back onto like the supplement game, and it's all fired through ChatGPT. Jack, so the supplements are definitely in play. And that's actually one of the things Daphne said that is a good refresh right now as you're getting into these routines is like re-up your supplements, make sure that like everyone in the family is, because you also need to worry about staying healthy now that we're back to school.
I told you this earlier this week. It was earlier, meaning yesterday. Daisy went back to school Monday. And yesterday at the end of the day, it was today's Wednesday. It was day 2. It was day 2. We already have hand, foot, and mouth in the classroom. Already.
So, like, it's just, you can't even make that up. Like, no. What are we doing, people? Why are we doing that?
The kid thought it was eczema. The parents thought it was eczema. It ended up being full-blown hand, foot, and mouth. Of course, the kid was there that day, so super contagious. We'll have it before you know it.
Of course.
But the reality is then the new rules with school, some of them is if your sibling's sick, you have to stay out because they don't want it to keep spreading. Then you think you have your routine down, but then so is out of school. But you just need to up your meds, because all summer, when's the last time you took Tylenol? When's the last time your kids took Tylenol? When's the last time, like, okay, yeah, we're all set with suntan lotion and bug bite cream and all that stuff, but they gonna
reorganize the drawers.
My niece
we even get to it
is already home from school with a fever.
That's wild. But that's the reality of it, right? Like you literally can get a weekend and you're gonna already have something. So it's just, how do you have to have everything ready, ready to go. I guess that's other items now that you don't prepare for when you go back to school, but we luckily have our whole sick kit on Amazon, so you know that we'll be reordering right off of there.
Yes, seriously, because I am low, and I also feel like the things I need, like allergy season is like not over, but it's kind of done. Like I gotta switch it out to like what we need right now. But like you said, we're going through different changes. It's a different season for us too. Getting all of our stuff set up and ready to go. Like supplements is a big thing for adults, because we need to be regulated and happy. And I think that's one of the things too, like emotional regulation. As adults, we're all a little stressed. Back to school is a stressful time. Then you have big emotions, little kids, the big kids, okay, all of us with big emotions. You're trying to make the most of every second you have together because now we're, like you said, you work all day. You have these few hours together. There's so much to do. And you're trying to like enjoy it, but you also are running on empty. So
right. And you have to take care of yourself first. And that's why I went through and me and Daphne were talking about like what are some of the things. So I want to read a couple things off that she had said. So she categorized for us. So wardrobe and accessories area, everyday staples, go through your stuff like clothing and make sure that you have a school drop-off jacket that's presentable and
so true.
it's, you know, a fresh pair of jeans or leggings. So like that'll last you through the year. She's also a little delusional here, like a new work bag or tote and like new shoes. Like, okay, we can't be getting a full like wardrobe here. Self-care and wellness, skincare basics. Get back into your skincare routine. Different than summer, like gearing up for more dry weather. Make sure that you have everything. Supplements, which we already talked about. And then she talked about fitness gear, like a new water bottle or get your movement routine in order now that the kids are in school. Like, are you going to do walks? Do you have workout classes you're attending now that like is your schedule changing?
Well, listening to Jack, I feel like he worked out more during this podcast than I have all year. So I definitely think I need to take that
jumped on the trampoline. He's moving my 8-pound weights around.
He's strong.
So he's, you know, my favorite area is the organization tools. So like updating your planner or your digital calendars. So making sure like you have all the new like dates in there for the school year when the kids are off so that the dates don't sneak up because there's a lot of random Mondays that they're off that you don't think about. A meal planning system. So like, how are you going to prep weeknight meals and lunches, all those things. And then something I'm looking at is like a command center for your house.
So I did that.
Do you have somewhere?
There's a black hole. It becomes a black hole. Like you get so much stuff from school. Throwing things everywhere. So we actually in our garage built like a mud station and I put hooks outside. And then I bought these 2 clear bins off Amazon. And that's like where we put all the papers during the week, because realistically, I would love to go through everything every single day. And I try, but sometimes they send home like 8 pieces of artwork and you haven't gone through them. So once a week, I put the stuff in the bins that I don't have time. And once a week, you clear out the bins to start fresh for the next week.
It might be missing, honey. You have to look around. I'm almost done. If Jack can't sit through this podcast episode, I hope some people are still around. But it is like, that's definitely something I need. We don't have that space yet. So you need to send me the bins that you have for it because it is going to be a lot. I remember thinking the 2 days a week when he was last time, we had so many pieces of artwork that came home. And like, yeah, you can't possibly just keep getting through it all. And it's just, you need to have that drop zone almost. And then I'm thinking like backpacks, cleaning out school lunch boxes and that I need to find
like, and I put it in a main, you have to put it in an area that's easily accessible and then everybody knows it because depending on who's at your house, like if you find something and you know it's for school, you put it in the bin and you review it later. Right. That way nothing ever gets lost.
Right. Yeah. That's definitely a big piece. And then the last thing Daphne offered up was personal growth. So if that's something that you're looking to get back into now that the school year started, is picking up on your book or audiobook. And I will say, obviously, podcasts. So making sure that you have, you know, your commute podcast or music or audiobook, whatever that is. So a lot of us are going to be driving a lot more than we probably have been in the summer. You'll be in the car a lot. Jack finally left. And then the last thing is hobby supplies, which I think this is a delusional of her. She's like, get that crochet kit or paint set back out.
Dude, I
haven't had a hobby.
Drinking wine. Don't worry, I'm prepared. Drinking wine is my hobby. I always joke that drinking wine and petting dogs is my hobby, and I still feel like that might be accurate.
I think it's 100%.
I did go to back to school open house, though. I'll tell you how embarrassed I was. They had coloring papers out for the kids. So I sat next to Daisy and I gave her one and I automatically took one and I just started coloring. And one of them came over to me and they were like, oh, so mom's coloring too. And I was like, I didn't even realize that I was doing this, but clearly this is like a stress relieving
That's me.
activity.
Yeah, you're like, this was for me. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you very much. It made me feel great.
Well, I think too, there's just a lot of chaos this time of year, especially because I feel like over the next month here, starting when you did 2 weeks ago now, everyone's going to have that first back to school time. And I think something that you shared that's important is if you know that you're going to be emotional on the first day, make sure you set aside some time for yourself on that very first day. I love your tradition that you do every day on the first day of school.
Well, where I go to like lunch and and I know other moms can do different things, but just being able to like give yourself that little extra time, go to lunch with a friend who's going through it with you, and just kind of take that moment to decompress yourself is so important, because it's not just your kids who are going through the changes. You're going through the changes, and there's so many things happening. We always put ourselves last. So just presetting that time aside on that day every single year gives you a little bit of, time to reset, reflect, and move into the absolute, like you said, chaos that is about to ensue. And I think being a full year in with real school, I would say like the top 3 things to me that like are still hard but so important is understanding that there is a wind down time at home. Your kid has been so good all day at school. Don't think you're a bad parent. Don't think they're a bad kid. Like, it's just natural. It's not an easy time. And then, yes. And then the other thing, like I said, is everyone's emotional. So having those emotional check-ins, whether it's a dinner, you all eat dinner together, you answer 3 questions, whatever it is. And then taking advantage of the mini moments of connection that you have so that the mom guilt doesn't creep in too hard.
Absolutely. You have to. And I think that's very good advice about the wind down time. I'm going to need to keep it in mind as we go through. But I think back to school season's here. We hope everyone survives. You are on the other side. I'll be there soon. And I hope everyone was able to stick with us through the chaos of Jack on today's episode.
He's so cute. We had a beautiful little guest. We'll clock back into the 9 to 5 and he'll start jumping on the trampoline again.
Jack, can you come say see you next time?
Give us a little sign off, buddy.
You're going to be shy now?
No.
Just yell it. Say see you next time.
See you next time. And with that, we're out. Bye.